Welcome to Internet Girls.
Welcome back. We have a sick girl right here.
Wait,
But,
you just went to Costco?
well, Matt Googled it in the test. So I was not positive whenever I tested. And then, like, the line later appeared afterwards, and he tested, and his did the same thing. And so apparently they all do that.
What?
Yeah. That like brand of test. So if it doesn't come up after the 15 minutes, then like
Oh.
you're negative, but eventually like if the test sits there, that line is gonna come. So it doesn't mean that you're positive.
So you don't have
So
COVID.
I don't have COVID.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait a sec. You just told me you had COVID. Why are you at Costco?
No. I don't have COVID, but I'm still really sick.
Poor
Um
thing.
yeah, it's okay. I actually did have a faint line of the flu type A.
You
So
can test for that?
that test that I ordered was like a flu type A and B and COVID test.
Oh, that's why I didn't understand it.
Yes. So I actually have like a which I'm like way better than I was, but I have like a slight remnants left what you're hearing right now of the flu.
Poor
Which is
thing.
not even flu season. So like how rude.
Yeah, you need to get better for your Iceland trip.
I know. I leave for that in 2 weeks.
That's crazy. I know. I leave for Hawaii on Saturday and we're recording this on Tuesday, you guys. So we're batching right now because Tori and I are going to be off the grid. But isn't that crazy? It just like sneaks up on you.
I know. We're just out being girls of the world.
Girls of the world. Yeah. I'm so excited. I need to start packing. I need to get the house ready because my friend's staying here to watch the dogs for a couple days. And I'm just like, cool, the house has to be clean. Cool. Love that.
That's
So
inconvenient though.
it is. Yeah. But she's only staying here for a couple days and then our actual dog sitter is going to come take the dogs. So it's like, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
John actually just finished building a Murphy bed in our guest room because he wants to move his office in there and then have like a lot of space. So we took the bed frame, we gave it to a neighbor, and then he built a freaking Murphy bed and it is beautiful. I need to share this on Instagram. Like he's so impressive.
Oh my gosh, like Bob the Builder, John the Builder.
John the Builder, man. He's just been going for it.
No, like I thought that you were gonna talk about like the day bed that he built outside. Like I was
Well,
like,
that's
oh
old news.
yeah, I was like, yeah, we know about that. I saw it on Instagram because I don't think you'd mentioned that on the pod. But no, okay, this is like brand new news.
Yeah, and he did it in like 2 weekends. And it's like done, like beautiful. Yeah, we haven't painted it yet because we don't have time right now. But that's going to be the next step to like paint the Murphy bed, paint the whole bedroom because let me tell you, we bought this house a year ago. Whoever painted this house before we moved in should be fired. They should not have a painting job because it's like the patchiest shit everywhere. I don't know if you noticed that when you stayed here.
I didn't notice it at all. What do you mean? Like where?
Oh my God. Like in the guest room, when you're like laying in the bed and you look up, there's like patches that have like almost a beigey, like yellowish, like coming out from underneath. Like they didn't paint it. Like it's horrible. And it's like that in every room. And the way that we haven't even gotten around to that yet, maybe because John's been building furniture, it's abysmal. Like we were laying in the Murphy bed and I was like, oh, we need to paint so bad. Like these people fucked us.
No, but what a skill set that he has. Like a husband's that's a prime husband skill set to be able to build things.
John is a master. Like, because if you guys don't know, John, he has like a construction background. Like he used to build houses. And so he's so good at all the handy stuff. But now he's a software engineer. So like he's so good at the computer stuff too. So I'm not good at either of those things. He saves my life constantly. It is clutch having a husband that just knows how to do everything. My God.
The brains and the brawn.
Like, does Matt know how to do stuff?
He is very handy and he can put furniture together really well. He can like fix mechanical stuff, like engine-y type stuff.
Oh, that's
But
good.
I would not like if he had an instruction manual, he could build something, but not from scratch like that. Like not like that.
Yeah. I know. I'm always so confused.
You
And
know?
John will explain it to me like, oh, we're just going to do this and this. And I'm like, I'll see it at the end. It is very trust the process for me. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I have friends who are like, oh, my husband, my boyfriend can't even hang up a photo. And
Oh.
I'm like, ooh, that's super unfortunate for you. Like,
I know. I hate that. Yeah, a lot of people are like, a lot of guys are like that. But see, Matt, he grew up like working at this parasail place. He used to be a parasail captain in his former life, and that place made him so handy. Like,
oh, that's so
he
good.
learned how to like fix boat engines, how to do some like electrical work, like things like that. So he's good at like that kind of stuff, but he's not good at like he doesn't know how to like woodwork at all. But if he could be a really good assistant, like if John was building something and he needed an able body who could like know his way around some tools, throw Matt in there. They could like, you know what I mean?
That
Seriously.
would be perfect because John's always looking for assistance. So he like had my dad come over this weekend and help. And I don't think my dad knows much about this stuff, but apparently he was very helpful. And his dad helped with the daybed. So
That's
get a
cool.
good helper in there.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, take a construction guy, put him in a software engineering boot camp, and bam, you got a rich ass husband who is handy. Like that's the key. That's the life hack, my friends.
Okay, girls, get your pens and pencils.
This is an advice episode, so this is my first piece of advice for you.
Also, if you want to travel the world, marry a travel nurse.
Amen, sister.
They work 3 days a week. They make 6 figures, and you get to like live wherever you want. It's not like the military where they tell you where to go. You get to live wherever you want. And in between contracts, you have unlimited time off. So you can go out of the country and go travel. So
Dude, our
Hannah,
lives are so good.
Hannah and I have figured it out.
We have figured it out. This is how you get the dream, ladies.
I tell everyone. People have told me, they're like, that's so underrated. People always talk about like marrying like a doctor or something, but no, like first of all, marrying a doctor, they are at work all the time.
All the time. And they're like on call all the time.
And they're mentally, physically, emotionally like drained. And also they're kind of so smart that they're a little weird most of the time. So yeah, basically Hannah and I have it figured out.
Yeah. You're welcome. We spilled the tea. This is all you have to do, and then you'll be living your dream life.
Yeah. Also, guys, I have a big update about my health. We can talk about that really quick because I went to I don't even think I've told you this yet. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday with a rheumatologist. I finally went to my rheumatologist appointment. It snuck up on me because it was okay. I made this appointment on April 2nd. This was the very first appointment that they could get me. That's 4 months, over 4 months.
Oh my God.
And it was kind of like more urgent. Like it's not like I just needed a rheumatologist appointment out of the blue. Like as if you've been following me or if you haven't. Okay, if you haven't, basically I had this like crazy health situation happen to me almost a year ago today. Or actually it's like a month and a year, but I had a stroke-like episode, a neurological event. They don't know what happened. It took me almost a couple months to recover. I like couldn't read right after. I couldn't like comprehend things. Like it was so freaking scary. Took me and like it took me a month to get like back to even kind of normal, and it took me even longer than that to get back to like baseline to be able to carry on like normal conversations and stuff.
It was rough.
Yeah, it was so wild, but I have since like come out the other side, still have no answers, don't know exactly what happened to me. Upon further testing, they wanted me to see a rheumatologist because they've kind of had ruled out everything neurological. Finally saw the neurologist. Okay, so the neurologist said she ordered a bunch more tests and fun thing about having and they sent me right away into the lab to do the blood test, like right there, because it was like at a hospital where the appointment was. So I got my blood. It's not like, oh, I have to do my blood work in a couple days or something. The results came back too. Like some are still coming in, but most of them came back last night. And like I was saying, fun thing about having a husband who is in the medical field and who reads blood tests at work all day long. He was opening up all my blood tests and was like, "Oh, this is this, this is this, this is," and
That's
telling me
so helpful.
what all of them were, which otherwise I'd been like in the dark or from just like looking at Google. And also Matt's like, that one's not very important, this one's more important, like this is the one that a doctor would be concerned about, this is one that it wouldn't be, like this one typically means this, like so
That's so nice to have.
yeah, so it was really nice, and there were so many of them, and there were a few that were elevated. One of it was my like C4 and C3. Those were most of them came back normal, but those are a little cause for concern because sometimes that means like cancer or lupus, which my rheumatologist doesn't think anything with like cancer, but she was saying that she thinks that this could be a form of lupus or a form of scleroderma, which is what Matt and I had hypothesized that it was scleroderma. But she thinks whatever it is mild, because looking at my like results that sent me to the rheumatologist in the first place, she was like, I've seen these way higher. Like sometimes this results that you have could mean nothing, but because of everything that you've been through and that neurological event, and I have this like crazy thing on the back of my neck. You've seen it, like the back of my head. I don't know how to describe it. It's like this scaly, like weird,
like a rash.
Yeah, but sometimes it'll like tighten up whenever it's in a big flare up. Basically, like because of the rash and the fact that it's never ever went away or anything like that, that she thinks it could be this certain form of lupus or scleroderma or a number of autoimmune diseases. So, but she thinks if anything, it could be something mild. But she's like, you are of the age where they start appearing autoimmune diseases.
Lovely.
Yeah. Cool.
Love that.
Yeah, love that for me. So we're gonna see, which is crazy because all these appointments, typically I used to get so nervous before them and like cry and freak out, but now I was so calm. I'm just like, it is what it is. Like
that's good. Yeah,
I'm immune to it
at
now.
least you're getting some answers finally.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember when you were in the hospital, like you weren't answering anyone's texts, like people were like texting me like, what is Torri okay, like all this stuff. And then you posted an update on TikTok. I will never forget this. It was like just a picture of you like looking miserable in the hospital bed, and you put like a trending sound on it. You were just like I'm in the hospital, we'll report back later. And I was like, oh my god, but also that's such a funny way to tell it.
Honestly, the lights were on, but nobody was home.
Nobody was home. Like it was just a picture with like a fun little sound. Like she was looking so miserable. It was like you were looking more miserable. You were like, it's so bad to laugh at, but like that was so funny. I need to go find that. I think I probably saved it, like for bad days, I can like laugh at something.
No, that's hilarious. No, honestly, any of that content, I look back on it and I'm like, I remember I forgot how to edit. Like, I remember I had a couple of videos due and I was like, Matt, I can't edit this. Like, I don't know how. Like, I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't do it. Isn't that insane? Whenever I look at like, the videos from that time period, I'm like, what? Who is?
Yeah, I know. No brain power to post a video, just a photo with a trending sound. And it got like so much engagement too. Like I was like, oh, people are all over this.
No, people were like messaging. I got so many DMs and so many. Like,
I was getting DMs about you, and we'd literally just met.
It was wild. That was really nice to have people care
Yeah.
like that though. Even though I was unaware of it at the time.
Yeah, like all the comments were like, "Oh my god, hope you're okay." And then there's me, "Lol, this is so funny." Always keeping it real. Oh my god. Well, I'm glad you're getting answers. That
Yeah.
was just a scary time.
So scary. But they are gonna do a biopsy on the back of my head so we can finally figure what that
Okay.
is on Friday. I'm a little scared because I think they're gonna have to take like a chunk of skin out.
Yeah, but
Of
it's
the,
such a non-sensitive area, so that's good.
yeah, I'm just a
It's fine.
baby
They'll
about that.
probably just scrape,
I hope that's all they do. Just
I'm
like
sure. Just
scrape the
scrape.
top.
All right, well, let's detour and jump into our episode topic today. We are doing our second advice episode, and I am so excited because I love giving advice. I love giving unsolicited advice. I love using my psych degree in a great way. Like, let's
Did you
freaking
ever
go.
think that this would be the way you'd be using it?
I never thought, no. All my classmates were going to go get their freaking master's, clinical, whatever. And I was like, I'm probably just going to be giving advice on podcasts. Very important.
No, but what did you think? Were you planning on like
No.
going? You were like, I'm not doing that.
I just thought it was an interesting topic. And I was like, I can use this for like anything. Like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to go into the corporate world and like, this will help me understand people, whatever. I just needed to get a degree.
No, that's what I thought too. But actually, there was a second where I was like, no, I'm going to like be a psychologist. But then I was like, I hate school. So why
Yeah,
would I
I
do
hate
that?
school, and I'm too empathetic. Like, if you tell me you're sad, I will cry.
Yeah.
Like,
And then
unless you post
I would
a
be
funny
calling,
photo.
I'd be calling the patients and be like, so what happened? What happened when you told them?
Give me the tea. It is kind of a nice way to get tea, but like also it's usually really sad. So
Yeah.
anyway, between us, we have 1.5 psych degrees. Because Tori almost finished hers and then didn't and
Yeah.
got a different degree. And
Yeah.
I have a full one.
Mhm.
So you're welcome in advance. Tori, do you want to kick us off with the first listener question?
Sure. Okay. This one is a hard one. My best friend is marrying someone toxic. Do I tell them or stay out of it?
Bestie, how are they like how did you not tell them this before they got to the marriage stage?
Yeah. I am of the mindset of now that there's like a ring involved, you kind of have missed your chance. Like
Mm,
the
it's an opportunity.
opportunity was like before it got to that point.
Yeah, like how long have they been together? Like has it been like 3 months or like have you had time to like go and talk to your bestie about this?
Yeah. And also, is it like, how toxic are we talking? Is it like
Yeah.
abuse or is it like they're just annoyingly toxic, like fight all the time, you know? Because either one is awful, but if there's a ring involved and like the future plans like that, abuse obviously that trumps that and you need to step in and say something. But
Mhm.
if it's the latter and it's just like annoying and like it's not a good idea, like I do think your opportunity has passed you by and you should have said something before it got to this point maybe.
Yeah, I think it's like how toxic are they? Is it going to affect your friend physically or mentally like a lot? Or do you just not like them?
Mhm.
You know? And I think you really got to think about that because especially when there's ring involved, when people are planning their wedding, like it's a hard time to step in and be like, "Oh, I don't like him." And it's like, "Where have you been?" You know?
Yeah. And it's also like if you say something to, because there's times whenever I was younger, then you tell your friend like, oh, I don't like him, like, like.
Yeah, you have to have your reason. Like, did I tell you, Tori, that I had one friend when I first started dating John that was like, "I don't like him for you. Like, I think you guys should break up."
No.
And I was like, "Why?" And she was like, "I just don't like him." And I was like, "Okay, well, I don't think this friendship's going to work out. I didn't really like her that much, but now I'm like, okay, we're happily married. We've been together almost a decade. Like, where did that come from? You know, so you do have to kind of be careful too. Like, if you're going to bring this up to your friend, make sure that you have reasons why you think he's toxic and they shouldn't be together.
Also, jokes on that girl, but beyond the joke being on that girl, chances are too, if you say something to your friend and like how just what you said, like that kind of ended your friendship, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be prepared for that. So is the toxicity bad enough to where, and are you close enough with this like best friend where you're like, okay, like I need to do this so she knows like how serious it is and that's how bad
Hmm.
this situation is, you know?
Okay, the next question, and these are all from listeners, by the way, so I hope these are helpful. This one kind of ties in. I'm so glad you're doing this episode right now because I just saw my best friend's man all over the apps. Do I tell her help? Girl, I am in the boat of you tell her. You screenshot that shit and you bring it to her.
Yeah, 100%. I am always of the like tell her, especially in that situation. You always though do run the risk of that backfiring and them being mad at you because even in the most purest of intentions, for whatever reason, I don't know what this is, and it doesn't always work out this way, but there is a chance of your friend getting mad at you for telling them. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but like if you I think it's different if you like go to your friend and you're like, I just saw your man on the apps, you need to break up with him. Versus like, hey, I wanted to bring this to your attention. You know I'm on the apps. I took some screenshots. He's on there. Like, do with this information what you will. Because like you never know what's going on behind closed doors. And like I think it's one thing to just be like, oh, this is what you need to do. And that's when I think it could be like a friendship ruiner because the person would be like, okay, why don't you let me handle this? Like I'm a grown ass adult. Versus just like, hey, love you so much. So sorry to tell you this, but wanted to bring this to your attention. But I do think you need to tell her,
yeah,
especially before there's a ring on her finger.
definitely. But make sure you approach it with caution, like Hannah said. Like, don't just be like,
Mhm.
oh, you need to break up with him. Like,
Yeah.
da, da, da. Just approach it with love. Like, hey, just wanted to bring this to your attention. I love you.
Hmm.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you. Yeah. And I'm sorry that you have to be in the middle of this at all. I know it's like so tempting to just be like, oh, I'm just going to like stay out of it. But if that's your girl, like you owe it to her to just like at least provide the information without providing judgment or like answers of how she should handle it, you know?
Yeah. Don't have any expectations of her whenever you tell her this
Yeah.
information, is my best advice, too. Like,
Hmm.
whenever you tell someone that someone's man is stepping out or doing something wrong, I think that's where like we go wrong in our like younger years is like, you know, whenever you're young and fired up and your best friend's man or your friend's man is like doing something wrong, you get so and it's out of like it's all out of love, you know.
Yeah.
You're like, "Ah, that's my friend, that's my best friend or
Leave
whatever."
his ass.
Yeah. But whenever you do that, then you like almost get mad at like your friend for not like I don't know, doing that. And I get it because it's like you care about them so much. You're like, oh, I love you. Like, you shouldn't be dealing with this. But if you zoom out, it's like not about, like, it's not about you. And it's not about what you think that
Yeah.
anyone should do. This
Yeah.
is,
Trust your friend's decision making abilities and like, you know, if y'all are both adults, like you're not like 16-year-old girls who are like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? Like, trust her
yeah.
and bring her this information and then just support her in whatever she does.
Do you want me to go next?
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Okay. I was recently faced with a huge decision, like life altering. I'm not really a decisive person as it is. So how does one make such an life-altering decision? Okay.
Are you a decisive person, Tori?
Yes.
I am too.
I'm very decisive.
I'm very decisive.
I've never struggled with that. I'm like, I know exactly what I want always. Like, and there might be like a few times where I might be torn between two similar options, you know? But then I'm like, okay, I know. And I like, that's like,
So how do you figure it out?
I always still even kind of know. And I might ask like a few people, and even if they tell me their answer, I'll still know what I want to do, probably.
Because you trust your gut, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so important. Like, especially if you're a woman, we just have this like sixth sense that is our gut intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think that asking people can actually be so helpful because usually when I'm asking someone, I'll tell them the situations. And then in my head, I'll know what I want them to say. And that's the decision. It doesn't matter what they say, but you'll be like, oh, I hope they say this.
Yeah. No, totally. But I do know, like, I have one of my best friends is very indecisive. Like, she just
Mm.
is not a decisive person. And honestly, wedding planning for her was way harder than it was for me for different reasons. But for her, it was really hard because she could not make a decision on anything. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you don't know which one that you like? Like,
Yeah.
better? Like, you don't know what you like? Like, so there are people like that out there. And what I suggest that you do is I think it's almost like a skill of knowing yourself a little bit, like getting to know yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe like take a little bit of time of journaling, because I think that's a really good way to get to know yourself. And even if you're stuck on a hard choice, like that can be so helpful because it's almost like having a conversation with yourself is like just putting like pen. And there's something magical about putting pen to paper.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even talking about like typing like notes app in your phone. That can be helpful too, but like something about the act of putting a pen to a paper. I don't know if it's like in our DNA from like the freaking Stone Ages or whatever. But
Yeah, and if you don't know what to write, like do a pro con list. Like that will
Mhm.
start to help you because you're going to start to see like, oh, actually I think I really want this one because I've put so many pros in there and like I can't think of as many pros for this other one or whatever. And like, you know what I like to do that I think is so weird? I like to imagine the multiverse. And I'm like, okay, I'm in the multiverse right now. It's very butterfly effect. If I choose this, where will my life go? You know, versus if I choose this one, where will my life go then? Which one would I rather have? Which one would I regret? Like, very scientific.
Mhm. Scientifical over here.
You know, once you make a decision, it's going to feel so good. And I think that's why I'm a decisive person because I'm just like, I know that when I actually just decide on one or the other, like, there's no way to accurately predict which one's going to be the best for you. You literally just have to go with your gut, go with, you know, the logic as well. Like, look at, like, maybe it's a job offer, like, look at the pay, look at the PTO, look at the whatever, you know, like, look at the different managers and then use your logic, but also use your gut. And then once you actually make that decision, it's going to feel so good and just don't look back.
Mm-hmm. Also, what Hannah said earlier too about asking a few super close people, I think can be really revealing, whether that's like providing clarity from yourself of, okay, this is what I was hoping they would say, you know? Because sometimes it just like reveals that without even knowing that that's what it would reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or sometimes it also they offer a perspective that you might not have thought about, and it just like clears that up for you too, or it's a combination of that. So
Yeah, you know, that's actually how I make like 99% of my difficult decisions. I just ask John, and usually whatever he says, I do the opposite. Um, and he's always like, "Why did you ask me?" And I'm like, "It wasn't never about you."
John, you're what you call a sounding board, okay?
Yeah, thank you. You've done your job. You were wrong. Next question. This is kind of a two-parter. I've never been confident a day in my life. I'm sorry. And I'm definitely not comfortable with my body. What are some confidence tips you can share? How can I respond to people who comment on my body and my weight? It
First
is
of all,
2024. Can we
and
stop commenting on people's bodies?
like, fuck those people.
Yeah, they're not your friends.
Yeah, like I
Mm-mm.
would try to limit your interaction with those people um as much as possible, who like cut people like that out. Like I know that's harsh, and I know sometimes that can be family members. Sometimes that's necessary, and if they ask you like, "Oh, I feel like you've been distant or whatever," you can just politely tell them. It doesn't have to be this like big like you did this. Like you can just be like, there's some comments that you've made that have made me very uncomfortable, and so it's made me feel as though I don't need to be around that because it's hurt how I
Yeah.
view myself. So I just needed to put some distance there. And maybe, that would just keep it as simple as that. Like you can just distance yourself for yourself without like needing something from them or needing them to apologize or, looking for that. I also think confidence like really comes from yourself, and something that I had to do, I went from being like super confident to being like not confident at all to being like now I'm like a super confident person. And that was all because like I was focusing on like everything that I hated about myself, like and things I wanted to change all the time, and spending all the energy that I had into trying to change the things that I hated about myself. And then instead of that, I just slowly but surely focused that energy, and whenever I looked in the mirror, instead of like looking at my problem areas, and I put those in quotes, but the things that I like hated, or like I would pull my eyes, and it took like a long time to do this subconsciously. Now is now I don't look at I don't even glance at the areas I would consider my problem areas. I look at, whenever I look in the mirror, I look at the things that I love about myself. And now I don't even know what those areas were that I was like so hyper focused on, and like would look in the mirror and be upset about. Like I can't even like remember what that was.
Mhm. I
But
love that.
but there was a time where that was all I could see whenever I would
Yeah.
look in the mirror. So I totally understand that. But if you focus on that, then that will be all that you can see. And instead, I would just practice the exercise. I'm sure that you have things that you love about yourself. Maybe it's like your eyes, or maybe you have like a cute little nose, or maybe it's like your lips or your teeth, or maybe you have a cute ear. I don't know. like,
It could be anything.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I like to view confidence as, I mean, I say this all the time, confidence is a journey.
Mhm.
Think of confidence as like learning a language or practicing a sport. It's something you have to work at every day. You have to continually practice this to get it ingrained in your head. And I think that is such a great way to do it. Like, get like a little like dry erase marker and like write on your mirror, like cute nose, love my butt, whatever. Maybe start writing some affirmations. I've actually done a presentation on like the science behind affirmations. There is real science behind affirmations. And so instead of starting to think like, oh, but I hate how round my belly is or whatever, you start to think in affirmations. I love this about me. I love this about me. And like you can use ChatGPT, you can Google them, you can find so many of them on social media. Like there's so many ways to find affirmations, and then you just got to write them down every day or repeat them every day. Like that's so 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 important for confidence, and it will literally alter your brain chemistry. Like look up the science, it's really cool.
Yeah, I love
Um
that.
and then when people comment on your body, which like I can't believe we're still dealing with this, to be honest, like in the ripe age of 2024. What's helpful is to have a couple of one-liners that you can use, have in your back pocket, because I find that sometimes when that happens, like I'm always so taken aback and I'm like shocked. So I'm going to give you guys a couple one-liners I wrote down so that you like have this in your back pocket when you need it. So like one thing you can do is like set your boundaries. Like my body isn't up for discussion, thanks for understanding. Like one line, done, shut it down. Redirect the conversation. There are so many more interesting things to talk about than my body. What did you do today? Like redirect that conversation, baby. Respond with humor if you find it appropriate. Like, are we really talking about this in 2024? Let's change the subject. Something like that. Being direct but kind is great for the people pleasers. So I know you're probably well intentioned, but comments about my body are unhelpful and can be hurtful. Let's talk about something else. Or I'm working on focusing on positive things. So I would appreciate if we kept body talk out of the conversation. Things like that, you know, or just like stand firm. My body is my business and I would prefer not to discuss it. Like
That's
these
so
are so
nice.
many things, like write them in your notes app, have that ready to go. Think about it because if you're constantly dealing with like friends or family members, which is the hardest part, who are commenting on your body, maybe around the holidays, whatever, have those ready to go so that you're not taken aback and you have something that can just shut down the conversation because it's not appropriate to
Mm-hmm.
comment on someone else's body. It's not appropriate at all unless maybe, I don't know, you're their doctor and it's in a private patient to doctor room and the patient wants to discuss it.
Yeah, no, totally. And I will say, I recently lost about 30 pounds with my like big health scare that I've had. And that was not like on purpose, just overhauling and trying to eat an anti inflammatory diet because like
Mhm.
my inflammation was so high. And I'm currently on a GLP-1. That's not necessarily to lose weight if it happens. Okay, I'm not like I feel neutral about that. But again, obviously I have a lot of health issues going on with me, so I'm just trying to figure it out. With that being said, I got so many comments that were like, "Oh my gosh, you've lost so much weight! You've lost so much weight!" Like when I lost the 30 pounds, and they were a little triggering for me and like a little like I know everyone meant well by being like, "Oh, you've lost so much weight." But I don't enjoy those comments even being on the receiving end of like saying like that you've lost weight. Like they don't that doesn't feel good because it almost feels as though like I what like wasn't as great or worthy like pre
Right.
the pounds that I lost.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. That's the thing. There's no positive way to comment on someone's body.
mhm, mhm,
Absolutely no way. Because you're
mhm.
going to insult them no matter what. So, like, best to focus on something else. Love how your hair looks today. Oh my God, you sounded so good in that presentation. Like, let's focus on not body related comments.
Hannah gave you some like really nice ways to like interact with people. I also say be a little rude if people are being a little rude to you. Like I would not be beyond like if someone made a comment about my body of calling them out and being like, "Did you really just say that? Or is there a reason?" And how I would say it, I wouldn't be like super rude, but I would be like, "Is there a reason that you just said that to me?" Like
Mhm.
that's what I would I don't know. I would and my go-to is always like just make them feel like really stupid for saying something really stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
you should say, like, oh, should we talk about your body next?
yeah.
Like, because you know what? Making them feel awkward about saying like whatever they've said to you is a great way to shut it down and have them not do that again to anyone else.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
not all of us, you know, some of us are people pleasers.
Mhm. Mhm.
I speak from experience. So,
Mhm.
you know, you have to have a couple, see how comfortable you are calling
Yeah.
people out because I love that. I do.
Yeah.
They deserve to be called out.
And it just depends on the like if it's a family member who like you're not going to change their like mind necessarily. It's like what's the point of like ruffling feathers? You only see them a couple times a year.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just not worth it. But to some like stranger who like makes a one-off comment, like I have no problem just like maybe calling them out.
Yeah, I'm so right. That's inappropriate. Thank
Mhm.
you. Like
Mhm.
3 words. It's so easy. I love it.
Yeah.
You guys got this. You
Yeah.
got this. Just know, like, we're on your team. You're in the right here. These
Mhm.
people should never be commenting on your body, good or bad.
Yes. And this is a safe space for you, okay?
Yes.
And remember, you're a rock star.
You're a rock star.
So, up next, how do you know if you need to leave a relationship? I feel like if you're asking that question in the first place, not a great sign.
Yeah.
And I think if you're asking, you kind of have that answer. Like, you wouldn't be asking that if you didn't already know the answer to that. Because that.
Mic drop. I'm like, what?
That to me sounds like your intuition talking.
Yeah, you're questioning things. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, a relationship, a healthy relationship should be balanced. You should feel good about yourself. You should feel like you're contributing to your relationship in a good way, but also your partner is. You shouldn't feel ignored. You shouldn't feel like you're stepping on eggshells around them. Like, just like, how do you feel? Are there people that you feel more comfortable with than your partner?
Does it add to your life? It should add to and enhance your life. And don't get me wrong, like there are going to be times where everyone goes through times, but like overall, the most part it shouldn't be that way, and that shouldn't be the feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
So,
hope that helps. It's really tough. Like, I mean, think about it too. Like, are you happy like 90% of the time, or are you unhappy like 90% of the time? Like, are there some good moments, or are there mostly good moments?
mhm. And not only that, sometimes it might not be that like anything is that bad or that good. It could just be a feeling that you have that it's not right.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling that, you only have this one life, this one great big life. And if you're feeling that, I don't ever want to waste this life. So
Mm-hmm.
I say you deserve to live the life where you have everything that you want. And if it's not everything, then it's nothing.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
That's
Okay.
just my take on it, though.
Next question. What advice would you give to someone who has a hard time facing their fears? Like spiders? Because avoid. Don't face that fear.
What's the
Snakes,
point?
avoid at all costs. First off, like, be kind to yourself, because we all have fears, and facing your fears can be really challenging, especially when they feel overwhelming or like super deeply rooted, like in your childhood or whatever. I think like there are some fears though that, like, with like exposure therapy, or like, really kind of like dipping a toe in first to like see how you do, like that can be so 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 helpful. And some fears you just really do have to face. Other ones, like spiders, best to avoid. But yeah, I think like start really small, break your fears down into like manageable steps. So like, let's give an example. Like, maybe your fear is you have stage fright. Start by like recording a video on your phone and like pretending that you're like talking to an audience, and like do that a couple times to get used to that. And then maybe have someone sit on your couch and like perform to them. Like, start with these like small steps that may just feel like they're not going to help you, but like they absolutely will, because you're going to get more and more confident like performing that action until you like build up to like a bigger thing, like going to an audition or like performing on stage or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm. Just like Hannah was saying, there's two different kind of fears. Like, there's the healthy kind of fear, and then there's the fear of like the scary things that like are supposed to be a little scary, that get you out of your comfort zone and help you
Mhm.
grow and make you better and a better human, you know, for like for getting out and going after something. If fear is holding you back from like living the way that you want to live because you're scared to like get out there and like face your fears, then that is something I think you need to like visit and take inventory of and figure out like why you're having such a hard time
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, therapy's super helpful for fear, but also just like being compassionate and like forgiving yourself because like we all have something. Like you're not alone. We literally all have something. Like I use stage fright because I have stage fright.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, because I'm like putting myself all over the internet, but like it's just we all have something. Be compassionate. We're all trying to overcome some scary things and just know that like you're not alone.
Miss Hairspray has stage fright.
I know I was the lead in Hairspray and I had panic attacks before every show.
You did?
Yeah.
But you got out there and did it, didn't you?
But I did it. Yeah. Could I do it now? Like, I was thinking about that. I was like, that was very brave of me. And I think it was
Miss
exposure, like performing in like theater class all the time and like doing it more and more and more. But I still, oh my God, major stage fright.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
I
Fun
had
fact.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that either.
Yeah, even like when I'm in like a Slack or like a Zoom call and I have to like present on something, I get so nervous and I can fake it till I make it, but like yeah, I will have like panic attacks about it.
Wow.
I
See,
know.
and I would have never guessed that from you.
I
So,
know. Fake it till you make it. Woo.
anything that I've ever wanted or had that was worth having or worth doing was always on the other side of fear, of
Yeah.
pushing through like the fear of like doing something scary. So, if hopefully that like inspires you a little bit, because anything worth having or going after, there's going to be fear in front of it.
Yeah, but it'll improve your life. And these things, like sometimes the fear is literally stopping you from like growing into a new person and like uncovering this like incredible part of your life. And like, you can't let it, you
Mhm.
can't let that win. You can't let this mental block win. So it's worth spending time on it, kind of like confidence. Like,
Yeah. Imagine
it's
if
a
you
journey.
Yeah, like imagine if you would have let the fear keep you from being Tracy
I know. And
in
I was a
Hairspray.
damn good Tracy.
And so, my last one, I feel so awkward trying to flirt with people. How do I do it?
I feel like you're talking to two people who have no game.
Two people who've been out of the game for so
Yeah. I was an
long.
awkward flirter because I was very obvious with my flirting. I would be like, "Mhm."
I know. I honestly don't even know if I ever flirted. Like, I can picture you flirting. Can you picture me flirting? I feel like you'd be a good flirter.
I think I'm a pretty good flirter. I'm just obvious, but I kind of think you should be obvious if you're flirting.
Yeah, because like people need to know that you're interested, because that's the
Yeah.
whole point.
I like spent my youth reading Cosmopolitan magazine. So like, touch them on the shoulder and like, laugh at their jokes and just like lean in a little bit more. And I was like, okay, noted, 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 like doing all that.
I remember one time in Cosmopolitan, I read like if their shoes are pointing towards you and like when they're sitting down, then that means that they like you. And I was always looking at where my crush's shoes were
Oh my God. You know what's hard too with flirting? You have to have someone who like flirts back. Cause like John has no game.
pointing.
Poor John. He's so lucky I was so into him because how else would we have gotten together? Sometimes it's hard when you're like flirting with someone who has no game and they're not flirting back and it makes you feel super awkward. But like just know that that's on them. That's not on you.
I feel like if someone has no game, then it's almost like an opportunity where you can kick it up a notch and like almost like play into that, and you can like be the one in control and like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm. And I think we're in a great position as women. I don't know if this is a woman who wrote in, but probably. I feel like we're in a great position as women to like really take that first step and like slide him your number or be like, oh my God, what's your Instagram? We should DM or, like just be your flirty little baddie self, put some cute makeup on, wear a low cut top or whatever the fuck you want to wear. And just like, if you're feeling yourself, you're going to feel a lot more flirty.
No, totally. You know what Matt used to always do to me when we're in college is he would do that thing where he'd go like this, so you'd look down and then he'd like hit your nose. I don't know if anyone who's not watching could. So it's that thing where they point to your shirt like you have something.
They're like, "What's on your shirt?"
Yeah, you look down and then they like hit your nose. Yeah, boop. And that was like his way of flirting. But, which is such
so
a
Matt has no game too.
yeah, he's just funny and would do that, so like,
yeah,
I remember I was always confused. I was like, is he flirting with me or is he just like being funny,
So funny. I know I wouldn't really call that flirting, but maybe for Matt. Just like be cute, be giggly, like lean in, touch their shoulder, like make contact, be like, you're so funny.
But I'm thinking like, if you, let's say this is someone that you see out and you like are kind of interested, how would you like go up and flirt with someone? Let's say you're single, like what would you do?
Oh, I would like, okay, let's say I'm going to set a scene. You're at the sandwich shop. You go up, you order your sandwich. He orders his sandwich. You're standing kind of next to each other. I would go over and be like, hey, what sandwich did you get? Or like, well, I like your shoes. Yellow. Like whatever, like just start any conversation. Like take the situation you're in and just be like, oh my gosh, have you eaten here before? Like, and then that will start it off.
Yeah, I say just like the adult, because now that we're like adults and older, like that form of flirting is more so like taking an interest and like really like showing an interest and like being intentional in like conversation where it's like, hey, yeah, I'm like putting an effort to like come up to you and like start conversation and ask you specific questions and like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And for me personally, you'll know if I'm flirting with you, if I'm being really funny and if I'm like popping jokes left and right and I'm like giggling a lot. So Torri, I'm always flirting with you.
You're always flirting with me.
Oh, I hope that is helpful because neither of us have game.
It's crazy how we're married.
It's honestly crazy. It's crazy how they're married, the guys. They're so lucky.
True facts. So lucky.
No game whatsoever.
It's so funny. We're like, they're so lucky they're married to us. Meanwhile, we're like, they're the ones. We're like, we figured out life because we married them.
It's the confidence, baby. Oh my gosh. I freaking love advice episodes. I just think these are so fun. So I hope that was helpful for all of you guys who wrote in, maybe people who were scared to write in this time, but you still took something away from this or you're going to write in next time. Like keep an eye on our stories for our special little advice question boxes.
We love doing these and they will be continually a thing.
Yes. Hopefully like every month or every other month or often. But you guys know where to find us. You can find us at Internet Girlz Pod on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get your podcasts. And that's Girls with a Z, as always.
Yes.
With a Z.
With a Z. And you can also follow Hannah and I at Torri Sunshine, 2 R's and an I, at Hannah Lee. Lee spelled traditionally Lee.
I don't have anything special to say about my Hannah Lee lifestyle.
No, but Lee can be spelled a bunch of different ways. So Leigh.
Oh, that's so. Bleh.
See, to me, it's like lay. That doesn't.
Yeah, that's lay. We love you guys. Thank you for writing in, and we